The Santa Ana wind so prevalent this time of year, they rolled through and they left us with bright, clear skies here in Los Angeles, California. Coming up, we got a good matchup on tap here, as it'll be the Houston Texans taking on the Los Angeles Rams. And off we go from SoFi Stadium. And it takes this near the 25. Just a little pass there. Call it the 26. So out come the Texans for their opening drive. And leading them out there, we get a look at their 6'3 quarterback.
And there's no doubt about the talent that we see from C.J. Stroud. We've watched it develop in his first 2 years in the league. But the best way quarterbacks are graded is winning. He's out there trying to win his 3rd division championship in as many years.
Opening play, and Stroud will throw it. It's a short one here, complete to his tight end. The game's first play produces 6 yards, brings up 2nd down. That's a staple of this offense. Drag route to the tight end.
Yeah, he's unable to use his size to break off much more yardage after the catch, but still an effective gain nonetheless.
2nd down and 4. First carry for Nick Chubb. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. They'll wind up losing 3. And now it's 3rd down.
I think sometimes when you're trying to get after the quarterback, maybe it's better to be lucky than great. Because I think on that one, he's just trying to get upfield and rush the passer. Instead, the tackle for the loss landed right in his lap.
A tough spot here on their opening drive. This is 3rd and 7. Here's Stroud. And this pass broken up. Excellent coverage there on 3rd down, as that was not an easy one to hold on to.
No surprise at all. They're looking for the big man early in this one. The only surprise for them, he couldn't hang on to the pass.
Here's Tommy Townsend on to punt.
For the Texans.
Fair catch signal for and taken just shy of the 30-yard line. So now the Rams will get their first opportunity with a football. They'll be led out by a longtime starter in the NFL, a former #1 overall pick way back in 2009. It's Matthew Stafford.
Truly one of the tougher quarterbacks in the league, is willing to do whatever it takes to win and plays through a lot of adversity and continues to do it at a high level in his high 30s, trying to make another run at the Super Bowl here in his 17th season.
Stafford and the Rams come up 1st and 10 at their own 28-yard line. Pass complete there to Nakua. So give them 5 yards there on the pitch and catch, and it'll be 2nd down. I think defensively you're okay with that. You're in the first quarter. He's going to get some catches, but they rallied to him quickly.
And that's what you count on, and I like what you just said. First quarter, can you do it all game long? They catch it, you tackle them, they go down on the spot. Because when you're able to do that and you don't give up big chunks of yardage after the catch, now you put the offense.
And he's going to go down. The Texans come at him and able to bring him to the ground. That was Will Anderson getting home and finishing the play. Well, on that one, they go with a play fake, CD, but I don't think anybody really was fooled. All eyes were fixated on the quarterback, and they got him to the ground.
And to run this play successfully, you've got to make sure that everyone is doing their part. You actually have to sell this play. You've got to sell the run action. Otherwise, why do you stop at the running back? You just run straight for the quarterback and put him on the ground.
So now Stafford and the Rams, after the sack, they're staring up at a 3rd and long. First run now for Kyron Williams. No gain on the play there, and it'll bring up 4th down. sniffed that out defensively. He had it diagnosed pretty quickly.
I love that description because diagnosed is perfect on that one. Read his keys, made the play, and he couldn't even get going moving the football.
So on fourth down, on is Ethan Evans to punt for the Rams. And here comes Berrios. It's a 46-yard punt, 2 on the return. And the Texans will take over. So now we get set to see Houston for their second drive of the ball game. And the first drive, 3 and out. Second possession, see if they can get a little momentum.
And oftentimes that first drive is just a feeling out process. You have some plays that you've got called and you want to see how defense reacts. And it may not go terrific on the first one. Now they're ready to go. They've kind of got to look at them, got a sense. Let's see if they open things up a little bit.
See if they open things up. Let's see what the defense does here, too, after a good stop. Now a run here off the RPO. He'll keep it. And down he goes, but he takes it up to the 40. A quick first down pickup. Good start after going 3 and out on their opening drive.
And the Texans first down.
That's the first time he's called his own number, but he's got to be overjoyed with the results. He wasn't just going to settle for a modest gain. To me, he was determined to come through with a big message to a defense that slept on him in the pocket.
On first down, they'll run with Chubb. He had to fight that time. Ran through one tackle, but ultimately he's only going to get back to the line of scrimmage.
That was well played there defensively. 2 tight ends in the formation, which essentially gave them 7 blockers up front. Hard to imagine with all that size and beef that they could let a tackler through, but that's exactly what happened. A loss resulted.
Now Stroud. This one complete to Christian Kirk. And this is going to be another first down as the tackle's going to be made at the Rams' 43. A big one there for the Texans, 18 yards.
That was a nicely run slant route, and what the receiver's trying to do is make the defender think he's going upfield for a deeper route, and then breaks it off, usually after about 3 to 4 steps, and cuts towards the middle of the field. And now what he's trying to do is use his body to keep the defender away from the football and give the quarterback a really nice target.
Going out wide, finds Chubb. Yeah, that's good for a gain of 6, and that'll make it second down.
Just about every quarterback is trained to really look downfield first before you come back and make a nice, safe throw. And in this case, that's exactly what he did. Found his running back, let him create some space, and it turned out to be a nice play for the offense.
This 2nd and 4. And trouble trying the middle here. And he stopped immediately there. It'll be a loss of a yard, and that's going to lead to a 3rd and 4 coming up.
I thought he did a nice job there setting an edge and make sure nothing could get to the outside. But he decided that wasn't enough for him. Worked his way back inside and made the tackle on the ball carrier.
Here is 3rd down and 4. Throwing now is Stroud. That is caught. And he'll take this one in for a Texans touchdown. Nico Collins, 37 yards. And the Texans are on the board first on the road here in L.A. So on 3rd and medium, they dial up the pass, and it works to hit the end zone.
And it's really not a surprise to me. That's a throwing down in the NFL because of how tough it is to run the football. But what offenses like to do is still show run formations to make them respect it and throw out of those. In this case, they took a nice shot in the end zone and made it pay off.
Kaimi Fairbairn on for the extra point. And the Texans take a 7-0 lead. So the drive there took 6 plays. And it was Nico Collins who finished it off with a touchdown reception. the touchdown. Here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And they'll get him down inside the 30 at the 27. So the Rams coming back onto the field, their second drive of the game.
27-yard.
And the last drive, their first drive, 3 and out. What changes here, if anything?
I think it's making sure the guys that you trust the most with the ball, the biggest playmakers you have, that they touch it on this possession and try and get things moving.
So get it to the horses.
Without a doubt, they're the ones that typically end up in the end zone.
They'll fake the give. Now Stafford. This one swung out to Williams. He'll be hit down at the 33, 5 yards on the play. And at his size, he's a smaller back. You can get him the football. He can kind of get lost, make someone miss. It's good for him.
Yeah, it's great for him. I like what you said there. Sometimes he gets lost in the traffic a little bit, but get him out in the open field into some space. That plays to his strengths the best and keeps him out of it where all the big boys are, you know, make him make someone miss in the open field.
Back to throw. Stafford. Going to be taken in here by Nakua. And they've got it well across midfield down to the 40 before it's all said and done. 27 yards there, a first down.
Rams, first down. First and 10 at the 40-yard line.
Well, I think when they look at their offense, they think to themselves, weapons, weapons everywhere, and they want to move the ball around. They want to spread it to different people, but you absolutely know they want to get this man involved as well, and that's what they just did on that play.
Now a first down carry. It's Williams. And he's going to be met at the line of scrimmage and taken down. Calling no gain on the play, and it'll be second down.
Brings up second and 10.
Looked like he was trying to bounce it outside, but no success.
Yeah, sometimes you got to just figure out where you're going to go, and sometimes you just have to take it to another spot. In trying to get it outside, the defensive pursuit was there and just ran him down.
Williams going to get it again on second down. 2 runs in a row, but only 2 yards to show for him.
Typically, we think it's the strong safeties that are better tacklers, especially closer to the line of scrimmage amidst traffic. But in this case, how about the free safety coming up and making the big-time play?
They'll need to get it to the 30 for a first. This is third down. And they'll send the tight end in motion here. From the gun on third down, Stafford. Under pressure, and the Texans able to get in there for the sack. Multiple defenders there to drop him for a loss of 4. These strong safeties, some people may not realize it. It's really like an extra linebacker, right?
It really is, because they're hybrids. Half linebacker, half defensive back. The linebacker in him on that play emerged.
Ethan Evans on down to punt.
For the Rams.
And this one will not be returnable as it sails out of bounds. Houston set to take over. They've got a 7-0 lead in the football as well as they start out first and 10. Looking to put a drive together. He'll start things off with a handoff to Chubb. And nothing much materializing there on the first down run. He'll get a couple, and that's it.
Not a huge carry there on first down, but not all of them will be. But still, all in all, a positive play for the offense. It's all about picking up at least a few to set up what you're going to do here on second down.
From the 29, here's second down and 7. Stroud sets up the play action. Oh, that'll be incomplete. Well, he took a shot as he let that go. And it's going to bring up a third down.
pressure, slow down blitzes. In this case, though, if it takes a little too long to develop, you got people right in your face.
And lucky just to get rid of the ball with the arm going forward. Could have been a fumble. They head to the line facing a 3rd and 7 following the incompletion on 2nd down. And Stroud now to throw. That's complete to his rookie 2nd-round pick. And he is going to have a Texans first down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion.
Gain of 14. First down, Texans.
I think it all came together there. In-breaking route, drove it with excellent pace. Money throw right there to move the sticks.
Motion man left is Kirk. Up the middle, it's John. He pushes through a would-be tackler to get about 3 yards, 2nd down.
That's just a pile of bodies there, and that's when you kind of find out who's a tough guy, right? Who can stand up and make a play. It was only a 3-yard run, but for both sides, they had to walk away from that feeling like, okay, I can stand up when the going gets tough in here.
Second down, here's Chubb again. And they get him behind the line, so that short gain on 1st down quickly negated. It'll go down as a 2-yard loss, and it brings up a 3rd down.
The running lanes have definitely not been there for him here in the first half, and I don't think it's all been his fault. His offensive line hasn't given him much space. A loss results there.
Here's 3rd and 9. Stroud looking to throw. They'll set up the screen here to Mixon. And he is going to have a Texans first down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion.
So many times in my career, I've heard coaches talk about completions are one thing, but as long as we're there at the catch and we get guys on the ground, we can live with that. But if you're going to give up 10, 12, 15 yards after the catch, then your defense is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Stroud. It's a short one here, complete to the tight end. It'll be a gain of 5, and it's 2nd down.
How about the timing on that one? Boy, they were in sync, weren't they? 3-step drop, balls out of his hands, right to the tight end. Nice completion, just like they do it in practice.
Now 2nd and 5. Stroud to throw it. Nowhere to go here. He lost the football.
Much like a running back going through the line, quarterbacks have to be aware of protecting the football as well. He left it exposed that time, wound up having it knocked free, but fortunately, had an alert teammate who was able to get it.
So possession still theirs, but now they face a 3rd down. Back to throw. Here's Stroud. He's going to let this go. Back of the end zone. And down his man. It's caught. Touchdown, Houston. Jaden Higgins, 44 yards. And the Texans are off to a 13-0 first quarter lead.
Well, that's what I call an answer right there. They gave up a sack on the previous play. How about what they did to finish things off, turning it right back around?
That's the response, and that O-line feels a lot better now, don't they?
Yeah, without a doubt, because give up the sack on the previous play, that just hurts those guys because they never want to see their guy get hit.
On for the PAT, Kaimi Fairbairn. And it's good, and they have jumped out here to a quick 14-0 first quarter lead. A good drive that time as they go 9 plays in all. And it results in the Texans finding the end zone. touchdown. Here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And he brings us out past the 20 to the 24. The offense for Los Angeles returns to the field. They find themselves in a good-sized hole here, and a good-sized hole early on in this game as they come up on first down. Looking to put a drive together. To throw is Stafford. On this one, incomplete. The pressure got to him as he released it. And it's second down.
And I think we're all starting to wonder with this early deficit, what will that do to their play calling? Do they feel like they have to be more aggressive because they're throwing to start the drive here, but it winds up incomplete?
Here's second and 10. Stafford. He'll drop this down to Williams. 4 yards the gain, and it'll bring up a third down. 14-0 the score. This is the NFL on EA Sports. The Rams with the football here to begin the second quarter, as they've got it with a third down coming up. Out of the gun, Stafford. And that is incomplete. The passing game not in sync here early, and now it's fourth down.
Well, based on what we've seen so far, I don't think you can even call this an off day anymore, partner, because this group we're watching, they are totally out of rhythm, trying to get their game plan up and running. That 0 on the scoreboard is glaring down at them with every incompletion.
Here's Ethan Evans now.
For the Rams.
He's been a busy man here in this first half as he gets it away. Going to be a 43-yard punt, just a single yard on the return. And the Texans will take over with a first and 10. Heading out is the Texans offense as they get set to take over here. It's been a good first half so far. They're up 14-0. Points here, they could really put them in command before intermission.
Yeah, and it's all well and good what they're seeing and how they're feeling right now. But this is the NFL. How many times have we watched 14-0 leads evaporate and quickly? So how have we seen them combat it? Continue to run your offense, but don't back off at all. Don't start looking at the clock. Don't start thinking about, hey, just take care of the football. Keep attacking. Usually the best way to maintain control. The passing game's been working quite well so far, but the running game's been a little bit of a struggle, and that's a surprise to me. Typically, when you can throw it, you've opened up lanes for your runners.
Snap will come from the 31 on 2nd and 7. Back to throw. Stroud. This pass complete to Higgins. And able to get this one across the 45 before he's brought down. Third catch of this first half for him, and this one is a first down.
Texans.
The catch was nice, but how about what happened after? Able to stay on his feet and gain all that additional yardage. So many of these slot guys, I think, have running back in their background.
They go up the middle with Chubb. And his rough afternoon continues. He's going nowhere again. Just a yard on the first down carry, so it's 2nd and 9.
Oh, there's plenty of traffic waiting for him up the middle. But give him credit, he tried barreling through anyway. They're fortunate to get a yard out of that one.
Ball on the 47-yard line. Here's a 2nd down and 9. And again, it's Chubb. And there just continues to be nowhere to run. He's bottled up again at the line of scrimmage.
Sometimes your philosophies get challenged at times you don't want them to. They did try to stick to the running game on the first 2 plays. Didn't amount to much.
And now facing a 3rd and long at the outset of this drive. The Texans on 3rd down. They've been near perfect, 4 for 5 to this point. This is 3rd and 8. It's caught inside the 25. They'll get this one down near the 20-yard line, just shy of the 20.
This offense is looking very comfortable here in this first half. Very relaxed, very smooth, very efficient. No wasted motions. Things are definitely going their way, and they continue to move the ball downfield.
Play action. Here's Stroud. Rush coming, and he's taken down. Byron Young, the one who got in and finished that play off.
I know there would be a little bit of criticism there because they went right back to the air after the huge pickup and end up getting sacked. That's often a play that you make. You feel like you've got momentum on your side.
Unfortunately, the O-line failed to hold up to try to keep that momentum going. Now, following the sack, they'll look to make amends on a 2nd down and 17. Stroud out of the gun here. The pass caught by his running back, Nick Chubb. And able to break one tackle, but then quickly brought down. A nice little gain. So the completion results there in 9 yards. And 3rd and 8 now. They'll be in search of 8 yards here as they hope to convert the first down. From the gun on 3rd down, here's Stroud. Got a man. It's Collins complete. And he'll be out of bounds, taking it just shy of the 10 at the 11 or the 12.
Now, that's going to be a tough one to explain when they get together and watch the game film, isn't it? I mean, they had the right call, had the out route. He's got to know where the first down sticks are, yet he steps out of bounds that close. Not their best play.
A 29-yard attempt.
The kick by Fairbairn is good, and that will extend their lead even further. So it was 4th and 1 down in the red zone, but they elect to take just the 3.
And I'm a little surprised that that's how they decided to play it, that they didn't go for it there. But sometimes just take those 3 points and put them in your pocket. I just have one question for you, partner.
Okay.
Hip pocket or back pocket?
Fairbairn now, following the made field goal, he'll send this one away. And out a little across the 25 to the 27. Here's a Los Angeles offense as they get set to take possession. And we don't want to call this desperation time, especially in the second quarter, but you're
You don't
down.
want to.
Well, no, but let me finish.
Okay, my bad.
You're down 3 scores already. You've done nothing offensively, nothing on the scoreboard. That's not a good combination.
I think you
Now
just
you
called
can
it.
go.
I think you just called it desperation time. I think
did.
you did. But let's face it. You mentioned this to me in a break earlier in the game. The energy level hasn't been there right from the start. We've noticed that they've got to find a way to get on their toes and start punching instead of retreating, to use a boxing analogy.
They begin the drive with Williams. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. First down yardage on the first play of the drive, 14 yards.
Now, that was an excellent run. And when you see that happen, that's when you're seeing guys doing their job and then some people doing a little bit more. Offensive linemen and tight ends, they're expected to block. But the wide receivers, all they want to do is catch passes. So when they block on a big-time running play and create extra space, you've kind of hit the jackpot there.
That's into the hands of Tutu Atwell. And they'll get this well past midfield before being stopped just before the 35.
Rams, first down. 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line.
Now, that's the kind of big play you'd like to see. This first half, it hasn't gone their way, and they could use a shot in the arm, something to perk them up a bit. And they get one here in the passing game.
This offense finding its legs now. Here's another 1st and 10. action. Here's Stafford. That one into the hands of Adams downfield. And he's brought down, but not before he reaches the 8-yard line. That's good for 28 yards.
Rams, first down.
Boy, how about the speed with which this offense can get down the field? It's taken them no time at all to get down here, and now they're set up with a 1st and goal.
So 3 plays, already 1st and goal, and they are wasting little time. They'll try and run. This is Williams. And he will maneuver his way down to about the 7. It's a gain of a yard, and it'll set up 2nd and goal.
This is a critical sequence here for this offense. Things really haven't gone their way so far. This could be their chance to get back into it, but they've got to find a way to punch this ball in.
The line of scrimmage, the 7 now on 2nd and goal. Now it's Stafford. This is caught. Touchdown. Tyler Higbee. A 7-yard touchdown grab. And the Rams get a bit closer.
The tight end position has always been dangerous, especially in the red zone, short field. But now even more so because these tight ends aren't necessarily the tight ends of old. They're the rocked-up wide receivers who have a little bit more speed, way harder to cover than before.
Extra point attempt to follow here. And it's 17-7. The drive summary that time, 5 plays. And the result for the Rams, a touchdown. Kickoff team on the field, and here we go with the ball in the air. And a decent return out to the 27-yard line. The Texans offense and C.J. Stroud getting ready for this next drive. And he's done everything you could have asked for coming in. He's spread it around. He hasn't taken many chances, and he's potentially on his way to a big game throwing the football. Houston's offense already at the line, set to get going. Their drive last time, it stalled out. They were forced to take the short field goal.
And the key phrase, you nailed it, forced to, because you know coaches look at these short field goals as a last resort, right? To them, that's not how drives are supposed to end. You're supposed to put 6 on the board. That's a consolation prize, like going to the county fair. You don't get the big stuffed animal on that one, do you?
No, you don't go top shelf. That's bottom shelf material. 2nd and 9. And they'll go play action here with Stroud. This one left side caught by Collins. And past the 40 before he's out of bounds. 3rd catch of this first half for him, and this one is a 1st down. Fake the jet sweep, and now Stroud to throw off play action. And it's incomplete.
Not only did he have a chance to scan the field there, it felt like he had a chance to scan it twice. The protection was that good. Unfortunately for him, the coverage downfield, equally good.
Now it's 2nd and 10. Option right, here's Stroud. And maybe the wrong read there as he's going to go down immediately. They lost 4 there, and it's 3rd down. Well, that play never really got off the launching pad. He had a linebacker linebacker in his face before he had a chance to do much of anything.
Yeah, I think it's big boys up front, that offensive line. They've got to do a little bit better job of protecting him if they're going to continue to run the option like this.
The offense on third down, they've been very good, 5 for 7 thus far. This is 3rd and 14. He's across midfield. He's got room at the 30. Down to the 10. Touchdown, Houston. Nico Collins with his second touchdown here in this first half. And the Texans are able to extend their lead. What a first half he is compiling here. He's already over 100 yards receiving and now 2 touchdowns, CD.
Brandon, you know I don't like to play the game where you start projecting when you're at a certain point. Well, let's face it, he's off to a tremendous start. So 200 yards, 4 touchdowns. I don't think anything's out of the question right now. He's blowing up coverages. You've got to double him every snap. Otherwise, he's going to defeat you on almost every play.
Fairbairn now to add the extra point. And that'll make this a 3-score game as the lead moves to 17. So that drive spanned 5 plays. And it was Nico Collins who finished it off with a touchdown reception. So after the touchdown, here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And he won't quite make it to the 25. The Rams offense now, they get set and head back onto the field. A long drive last time out for this offense, Charles. If you remember, they started basically in the shadows of their own end zone, marched it down the field, and a lot of that was through the passing game.
And partner, as a former defensive back, I'm having almost a physical reaction watching what's happening right now. But let's give credit where it's due because they've done an excellent job moving the ball through the air. Secondary getting picked apart pass by pass. Obviously, they need to make some adjustments there on the back end.
Yeah, because offensively, we know that they're not going to be shy about throwing that football. They start the drive on the ground. It's Williams. And nowhere to run on the interior of that defensive line. He'll get back only to the line of scrimmage.
I have a feeling they'll stay committed to running the football, especially on the early downs. They just haven't had a whole lot of success just yet.
A loss of a yard there to start out. That leads to a 2nd and 11. Here's Stafford. And that is going to be incomplete as he led him a bit too much.
And attempted a deep ball there, and they didn't get it. But boy, they're going to need a few of those to actually hit in order to get back into this game.
Good thing they do have a little bit of time here still left in the contest. Decent-sized deficit, but not one that they can't manage. An incomplete pass on that last play, and that means they'll need to come up with something here on 3rd down. From the gun, here's Stafford. And he's going to go down. The Texans come at him and able to bring him to the ground. Mario Edwards flies in to blow that play up. These sacks now, they're starting to pile up, Charles. And that front 7 defensively, they've had their way with this offensive line.
And I think at this stage, we have to start thinking about different play calls. We've got to start helping this quarterback out because the entire game he's been under siege. I don't care what the down and distance. They've got to get the ball out of his hands a lot quicker.
Here comes the Rams punter now. As the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. Oh, that's just not fair, and now room to run. 43 yards on the punt, 7-yard return, and out will come the offense as they take over. Here's Nico Collins, and this offense getting set to go for another drive, making his presence felt early in this one. First half, already over the century mark.
How about the yards per completion, too? That's a pretty darn good number there. Number of catches, but he's shredding defenses, getting big yardage with each and every one of them.
Good starting field position for them as they come up 1st and 10 at their own 46. action. Stroud now. Looking left side, and he's got a man. That's Schultz. He'll be taken down at the 48 for a pickup of 2 yards.
And there's a completion to the tight end. And look at the size of these players nowadays. At that spot, 6'4", 6'5", and up. A lot of guys used to be basketball players, somehow came back to football. And that's really good for the game of football. You're getting better athleticism, great hand-eye coordination, guys who know how to control their bodies when they run their routes.
Out to the flat. That's complete to his running back. And he is going to lose yardage here. So they'll wind up losing 5 yards on the play. And it'll be a third and about 13.
If you're a selfish player and you're throwing the ball, you're cool with the completion. Maybe not so cool with the yardage loss, though, huh?
Yeah, you went backwards on the yardage. Hey, it kind of works like a sack for the defense there.
Yeah, it's a really big play for them, right? Able to figure it out, sniff it out, and finish it off.
Breaks a tackle, finding room at midfield. And they do get this across midfield to the 49, but a small consolation prize as he's well short of the first.
That's a nice design there, but sometimes, though, you get so many blockers out ahead of you, they kind of slow you down and force you to adjust. You always appreciate guys trying to help you, but maybe one less there could have turned this into a bigger game.
Here's Tommy Townsend now, as he'll punt it away for the second time. And this is a beauty as that ball is going to angle out at the 6-yard line. 1:57 to go in this first half on EA Sports. Set to begin their next drive, the Rams offense at the line. See if they can put this drive in the end zone, Charles, because it's been a little bit of a rough go at times. They've had to punt the football a ton in this ball game because of stalled out drives.
So are you saying that you're kind of tired of seeing the punter run out there and do his thing during this game? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, I mean, I'm okay with it. I have a feeling that this offense, they don't want to see the punter again.
And frankly, the punter doesn't want to run out there anymore himself. He would love to see his offense put together a drive and give his leg a rest.
A shotgun snap for Stafford. Short throw, it's Higbee. Now the Texans will burn the first of their timeouts as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. These guys have punted 4 times already, and they're staring at a 5th, barring a conversion here on 3rd down. Throwing is Stafford. He had a man open, but he missed him, and it's incomplete.
Sometimes it's just not your day. There's another failure right there on 3rd down.
Here comes the Rams punter now, as he's on for the 5th time here today. Here's Berrios. A good return there, call it 13 yards. And the Texans with great field position to start this drive as they take over 1st and 10. Throwing now is Stroud. They set up the screen to Chubb. And they went the wrong way there. Losing yardage back at the 43-yard line. He was unable to shake free there, and they'll cover him for a loss of a yard. Heck of a play there to get to him quickly and get him down for a loss.
I think they did a really nice job getting ready for this game, scouting, watching film, and understanding defensively what the play design was.
Open man is Higgins. It'll go down as a gain of 6. And it brings up 3rd and 5 now.
Well, if you do read man coverage, Brandon, the drag route's a pretty good one to run against it because you're running away from people on it.
They'll need 5 on this play to move the sticks. And Stroud now to throw. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. Now the Texans will use one of their 2 remaining timeouts as the clock will stop with 21 seconds to go here in the first half. Now Stroud. That's caught on the left side by Kirk. And so close, he gets it to the 1. Out of bounds right there. 23 yards on the play.
Just picking up yardage in bunches here these last few plays. It moved right down the field, and just like that, they're going to be set up with a 1st and goal.
A chance to really cap off a big first half here as they come up on 1st and goal. Chubb. And the second wave of tacklers is going to get him as they stop him behind the line. Call it a full 3 yards in the wrong direction there. Brings up 2nd down. And with just 4 seconds left in this first half, a timeout call. So with 4 seconds to go in the half, here's the field goal unit onto the field. From the left hash, he'll have to cut this at a tight angle. The kick by Fairbairn is good. And that will extend their lead even further. So this lead, Charles, is continuing to swell here in the first half.
Well, it's interesting. When we talked to them prior to the game, they told us that their game plan was take no prisoners, and they've lived up to it so far because everything has worked. No guarantee that'll continue, but all in all, this coaching staff's got to be very pleased by what they've seen.
So barring a touchback, this likely the final act of the half as the kick is away. And not wanting to risk anything here late in the half, he'll just take a knee and they'll bring the football out to the 25. The final shot before the break, Stafford. Short throw, it's Higbee. And he goes out right around the 39. So halftime here out west, let's go east. That's where we find Scott Hansen with our EA Sports Halftime Report.
All right, Brandon, thanks much. Welcome in, everyone, to the Orlando studios. Scott Hansen with you for a quick recap of the first half, which has been strongly one-sided. This is heading towards blowout territory unless they can come from behind and get themselves a victory. Let's find out what happens in the second half. Let's go back out to the commentary team, Brandon Godden and Charles Davis.
Scott, thank you very much. We are ready to get started here with the second half. Set to receive the second half kickoff, and they trail here as we resume play. And not much happening on the return as he'll get this to about the 23. Out come the Rams. They'll have it first here to begin the third quarter. And you have to think, Charles, down 3 scores already, they need to play an almost perfect second half to have a solid chance.
And that absolutely starts with finding some way to put together a touchdown drive here. They need to be smart, fast, efficient, get the ball to the end zone, and do it again multiple times in order to have a chance to win this game.
Stafford and the Rams come up 1st and 10 at their own 23. And they'll send the tight end in motion. Now Stafford. Over the middle and complete to the tight end, Higbee. And they're able to get this one across the 35. 15 yards is the pickup there, and the drive starting very nicely. 1st down.
This is what they're going to need more of. It's the 3rd quarter. You're trailing. You've got to come out with a renewed sense of purpose, and that's a nice way to kick off the drive with good yardage and a 1st down.
Stafford now to throw. Higbee secures it over the middle. And he'll be taken down, but not before he gets into enemy territory. Given back-to-back catches now. That one for 16 and another 1st down.
46-yard line.
Well, we talk all the time about playing situational football, and right now I think the scoreboard is dictating what they need to do. Where they are in this game, they've got to push the ball downfield, take their shots, try and get big chunks of yardage in a short amount of time. That was a nice play there.
Now we give up the middle to Williams. This will be stopped about 2 yards shy of the marker. 8-yard gain, 2nd and 2.
Running lanes were at a premium in the first half, but he's able to find some room there, and he's hoping that that's a precursor of a big second half.
From the 38 now, here's 2nd and 2. They run it again with Williams. And he'll go down here at the 35-yard line. 2 yards, good enough for 1st. Another modest gain there on that one, and I think, Charles, you can probably pin part of the deficit on a failure on their part to really get this ground game established.
Yeah, they've really struggled to be multidimensional in this one, having a partner, because they have to be extremely one-dimensional now if they hope to get back into this game. They'll have to do it by throwing the football and hope to have success through the air.
Yeah, this is not going to work as planned. He's going to be met and dropped behind the line of scrimmage.
As a wideout, when you take that handoff and you come around the edge, you're expecting to see nothing but empty space in front of you. But if not,
well, things can go south in a hurry, and that's exactly what we saw on that play with a loss. Stafford. And it's complete to Adams. They'll wind up getting 7 on the play, and it's 3rd and 4 now.
it's a game of matchups, and that's why you take your receivers and move them around a bunch, especially your best guys. And when they work out of the slot, you often hear the coaches talk about how great it is because it gives you a two-way go. You can break out or you can break in. That makes it hard to defend.
From the gun on 3rd down, Stafford. Under pressure, and down he goes. They sack it back at the 36. The defensive end, Daniil Hunter, drops him.
You can just see it in their body language. They're starting to see victory on the horizon now, and if it comes to fruition, they got to give a game ball to the front 7. Defensive line has taken charge and controlled this game. Face a challenge of stopping this opposing offense, and they've done so with ease.
So on 4th down, Sean McVay going to send out the field goal unit. From the right hash, this from 53. And his kick here is good. And that will move the deficit from 20 down to 17. So a good drive there to begin quarter number 3, but they're only able to shave 3 points off the lead.
Well, something's better than nothing, all right? They didn't play particularly well in the first half, but they definitely need them to step on the accelerator now and play a whole lot better.
Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here right at the 30-yard line. Here's Nico Collins, and this offense getting set to go for another drive. And I know that they've double-teamed him a couple times, but not a ton. Whatever they're doing isn't working. He's up over 100 yards. We'll see how they adjust.
And when they do that, they weaken their defense in other places as well. And how many times have we done games where we've seen a guy have a big game like this, but it's usually not by himself, is it? Right. Usually it opens it up for other people to have big games as well.
Looking to put a drive together. They start on the ground with Nick Chubb. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. The drive starting with a first down, 11 yards on that pickup. Now, they struggled to get him rolling on the ground in the first half, and that's sort of continuing here in the third quarter.
Yeah, but I don't think it's time to abandon the running game. I would say keep feeding the horse, and I believe he'll eventually reward them, especially as we get deeper in the game.
Stroud sets up the play action. He's got it to Collins, complete. And he's brought down. 15 yards, the Texans pick up the first down.
I'll tell you what, a lot of those mid-range throws have been available because sometimes teams get too concerned about the deep ball and they leave too much space in front of them.
And these guys have been taking advantage so far.
A give. This is Chubb. We'll get a nice chunk there on the first down run, and it's 2nd and 4.
Sometimes with the running game, you've just got to stick with it. Look, it's the third quarter, no time to panic. But that also doesn't mean you just do it the same way you've been doing it the entire ball game. Maybe change up some blocking assignments or run a few different plays, but stay with the overall essence of the running game.
Here now, 2nd and 4. Stroud. And the Rams got him. They bring him down. It'll go as a loss of 3 on the sack, and it brings up 3rd down. And on that one, the protection just broke down.
You've got to have that leverage, don't you? We always talk about low man wins in the running game for an offensive lineman versus a defensive lineman. It's essentially the same thing in pass protection. Get lower than that defensive lineman so that you can keep your balance and keep him away from your guy trying to throw the football.
The first down line at the 34 here on 3rd down. Stroud working out of the gun. Oh, it stays up. And he gets it to the 34. Good enough for the first. The drive stays alive. A 3rd down gain of 8. With nowhere to throw it, decided to scramble, and a nice job, CD. Got the yardage that he needed.
Yeah, and his teammates are certainly going to appreciate that effort, even if his coaches don't, because they would have wanted him to slide and protect himself. But he chose team gain over personal protection.
And off comes to Chubb. And he'll be brought down at the 27-yard line. A solid run on first down. Gain of 7 leaves him with a 2nd and 3.
They're in a pretty good spot right now with a convincing lead. I think this is where they put on the boxing gloves and start to try and pound them into submission.
And the offensive line, they've controlled this game. I don't see why that trend would change now. On the ground, this is Joe Mixon. And he is swallowed up right at the line of scrimmage. Calling no gain that time as it's going to leave him with a 3rd and about 3 to go. Coming up here looking for 3 yards to pick up the first. From the gun on 3rd down, here's Stroud. And that is incomplete. Oh, he had a defender right there with him to force that to the ground. And 4th down now coming up.
As soon as he leaked out and began his route, someone on the defensive side broke with him and arrived just in time to separate him from another reception.
So on 4th down, Texan kicker Kaimi Fairbairn comes on. This from 44 yards out, left hash. Fairbairn able to put this one through. And that will extend their lead even further. So 3 more points tacked on, and this margin getting more comfortable by the minute.
good about field goals. We talk all the time about scoring sixes, not threes. But in this case, they're just looking to chew up some time and come away with points.
Fairbairn now following the made field goal. He'll send this one away. And he'll be tackled just shy of the 25. L.A. set to take over again on offense. I kind of feel like they've reached a do-or-die point in this game, Charles. If they're going to try to pull off an impressive comeback, it has to start right here, right now.
Yeah, now they've got a final chance to get out of this situation, but they also understand they've got to move the ball and move it fast. In addition, they need to save as much time so they can get 2 more possessions.
They'll send a receiver in motion left. They'll fake it. Now Stafford. Going to be taken in here by Nakua. And up to the 35 before they're able to knock him down. 10 yards there to start the drive, and just enough by about the length of the football for a first down.
I tell you what, when you're down on the scoreboard, you've got to look to your stars, and that's what they do here to start the drive. I wouldn't be surprised if they looked his way a few more times in short order. That one, well designed, and it's a quick first down.
Broken tackle. And he gets this one to midfield before he's brought down. 40 yards rushing for him now on what was his 10th carry of the ball game.
That's another Rams first down. First and 10 at the 50-yard line.
Sometimes it's hard to believe, but there are times this game is about patience, isn't it? Hasn't had the game he expected, but that run there, that may get him going.
I was just going to say, maybe that gives him a little juice, because you're right, he struggled, especially in that first half.
Yeah, and I know the great ones always think to themselves, just hang in there. I'm just one big carry away from busting this open. That's a good start for him.
2 yards.
Well, any lane that might have been open there was closed pretty quickly, and that was because the defensive front, they won that battle at the point of attack at the line of scrimmage. They used great leverage, held their spot, and stacked him up.
Back to throw, Stafford. Open man, Higbee, the tight end. So no gain on the play, and that's going to set up a tough 3rd and 9.
As a defense, you're more balanced when you're in zone coverage because you're able to keep your eyes on the quarterback and see the play develop in front of you. They're able to keep the quick pass in front of them and stop it right at the line of scrimmage.
This offense in desperate need of a conversion as they come up on 3rd down. Stafford. And the throw there going to be incomplete.
And those two just haven't been in sync thus far. They've done a nice job against him, but still, with his talent, you would expect them to have more completions to him in this game.
Here comes the Rams punter now, as they're forced to kick for the 6th time today. And that is very well done there, as this will be marked out of bounds at the 5-yard line. The Texans offense and their quarterback set to take the field once more. And he had it going in the first half, that's for sure. He's really had his way with his secondary. They've been powerless to stop him, and he'll look to keep it rolling right here. The Texans offense ready to go here for their next drive. And they're not going to play this conservative, I don't think. They had the field goal last time and they're up, but they're looking to put a drive in the end zone.
Oh, I agree with you totally. No one goes out on the field and says, all right, let's just settle for 3 except in certain situations, trying to ice a game, that sort of deal. Most of the time it's end zone, and that's what you're thinking, and I believe that's exactly what they're thinking as they begin this one.
Yeah, no quarterback ever goes out there saying, hey, let's get 3, right?
Not one that I've ever met.
Here's Stroud. That's going to be brought in by Higgins. And they work this out past the 25.
looking at the scoreboard. This offense certainly is not, because they're showing no signs of backing down, even with a 3-score lead here in the third quarter. I think they keep taking their shots. They've seen blown leads happen throughout this league. They don't want to fall victim to it themselves.
And now a fake on the jet sweep and a give to Chubb. And forget about finding a lane. He barely had time to look up before he was planted in the backfield. When this offense gathers to watch the tape, they're going to like a lot of what they saw. They put up big numbers, but they might fast forward through that last play.
Oh, there won't be any fast forwarding, partner. I've sat in those sessions before. You end up spending more time on the bad plays than you do on the good ones. It's just the nature of coaches. But I know sitting in that room, when you've had a big game, the night that they've had, you don't want to hear that. You just want to focus on the good stuff.
He's been quiet today in the passing game, just his second catch.
Yeah, and people have to come up with schemes to limit him. And what a lot of teams do, they'll double him, use a linebacker underneath, a safety over the top. Sometimes they'll just take a corner, maybe their third corner if he's a bigger guy, and put him on a man-to-man to try and limit his touches. Just keep mixing it up. Give him different angles, different looks, like a good boxer does.
A shotgun snap to Stroud. And this is going to be incomplete.
One first down here, and that's all, folks. Good work by this defense to hold things in check and force a punting situation.
The Texans send the punter out as he's on here to punt it away. Fair catch called for and made right at the 25-yard line. It'll be a 39-yard punt, no return. And the Rams will go on offense here with a 1st and 10. L.A. readies for its next possession. Over on the sideline, hoping to hit that reset button between possessions. Last time out, they had to punt it away. This time, hoping to finish this thing off in the end zone. Stafford and the Rams come up 1st and 10 at their 25-yard line. They'll try to get this running game going with Williams. And running room scarce here. He's going to be stopped in his tracks at the line of scrimmage. Officially, it's a 1-yard loss. That's going to bring up 2nd and 11.
I see a shake of the head as he gets up, and you've got to imagine he's thinking, guys, you got to help me out. He's hoping his team can read his thoughts because he definitely needs some assistance.
And they're not going to get to the line to run another play. So we will switch ends as the third quarter has come to a close. This is the National Football League on EA Sports. Back now in Los Angeles. It's the Rams trailing, but they do have the football as we start the 4th and final quarter. Ball at the 24 and a 2nd and 11. In motion goes the tight end. Now Stafford. Short throw, it's Higbee. And he's upended after a gain of 2 out to the 27.
It's a gain of 3.
One thing I think that's safe to say defensively, the tackling's been really good.
And because of that, it's been very, very hard for them to move the ball because you're not getting the benefits of run after catch. They're tackling them almost on the spot. That means you have to run extra plays, harder to move it.
Here's Stafford. And that is incomplete. At this point, down big, you'd have to imagine this defense, they're just going to sit back, blanket the field as best they can.
Yeah, this is actually the easy part of the game for them because, just as you noted, they can sit back, keep everything in front of them. But they've blanketed the field the entire game using a variety of coverages.
All right, they're going to try and keep hope alive here on 4th down. They're going for it. They snap it to Stafford. He's airing it out for Williams. And it's knocked away and incomplete. No luck for the Rams as they fail here on 4th down. And the Texans take over an excellent field position. Well, at this stage of the game in the second half, down 3 scores, I guess they felt like they needed to push.
And let's face it, with this deficit, if they give up another score here after they didn't get it, does it really matter?
Right.
It really doesn't. They had to go and try and make something happen if they had any chance of winning this game.
For Nick Chubb. And he can only manage to get a couple. 2nd and 8 coming up.
Well, that's a pretty good drive starter right there. And I don't know, partner, if you're even thinking about sitting on the ball right now. They may just want to run their regular offense.
In plus territory. And as an offensive coordinator, you don't want your team to go into a shell, do you?
No, you really don't, because as soon as you take your foot off the gas, it's real hard to put it back on and mash it, because once everyone's emotions come down, hard to start them up again. So I think you may want to keep them cranking high right here.
And he'll get a couple here down to the 22.
Brandon, I've got to think this offensive line has got some smiles on its faces. And I know it sounds crazy, but they practiced for this back in training camp. They knew they'd be in situations where there'd be extra defenders in the box coming after them, trying to keep them from locking down a game. Right now, they want to show the world they're up to the challenge.
Back to throw. Here's Stroud. That is caught. And he is going to have a Texans first down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion.
And the Texans first down.
The passing game continues to be their friend. Even with a stable lead here in the 4th, Charles, they're going back to that well.
Yeah, with their overall philosophy, you know that they trust their quarterback. He's been able to throw it well. If they continue to throw these safe passes, who can blame them?
Chubb. A good display of power, but it will only get him just inside the 5 to the 4. 9 yards is the pickup there, and they'll have a 2nd and 1. Didn't get to the sticks, but that's an ideal carry there on first down, isn't it?
I mean, now you're 2nd and 1. Although, you know, in the NFL, even if you picked up the first down, I don't think it's a big difference because the clock doesn't stop.
Yeah, not like college.
Right. If it's college football, you want to 2nd and 1 is probably better than picking up the first down, because in college football, the clock stops.
And he'll take this one in for a Texans touchdown. C.J. Stroud, a 3-yard run as he kept it himself. As his guys are able to push that lead out a bit further. When coaches come into a game preaching total team effort, CD, I think this is the type of ball game that they're dreaming of. It was pretty apparent early on that they were clicking in all 3 phases. It's been fun to watch.
Yeah, sometimes in the NFL, you end up with matchups like we've been watching here. And when you go back to the early drives, you can just see that one squad was on a different level in this game. Safe to say, we haven't been disappointed in watching their execution throughout this contest.
Extra point by Fairbairn, up and good. And that stretches the lead all the way up to 27. So after the touchdown, here's Fairbairn now to kick it away. And the tackle going to be made right there at the 25-yard line. So now here are the Rams as their offense comes back out. We said it at halftime that they would need a nearly perfect second half to erase that deficit that they were facing, CD. But unfortunately, the second half has pretty much been a carbon copy of the first.
Yeah, that early lead was almost insurmountable the way their opponent was playing. And, partner, they do have some good news, though. This one is getting close to being over, and they can try and hit the reset button starting tomorrow.
Motion. Reset.
Here's Stafford. Pass complete there to Nakua. And he's taken down, but able to slip across the 35. A gain of 11 to kick off the drive, and it's a quick first down. With this game well in hand, perhaps we are seeing the coverage lighten up a little bit as they got burned there a bit for a first down.
But we certainly know the coach isn't happy along the sideline because he certainly wants them to finish this one out the way they started it. He doesn't want to give up any soft completions, no late points. He wants his lead to stay right where it is.
Got a man over the middle. It's Williams. And he slips up past the 45 before being tackled. 11 yards there, just like last play.
But they certainly had success throughout this contest getting him the ball in the passing game, and there he picks up another first down. Whatever they saw going into this one, they've been able to capitalize on it, and no adjustment has been made to take it away.
Now it's Stafford off the bootleg. Throws left side. Atwell's got it. And the result here, a pickup of 8. Leaves him with 2 to go on second down.
8 yards on the pickup. Brings up 2nd and 2 at the Texans' 44-yard line.
From the 44-yard line, here's 2nd and a couple. In motion, the tight end. Again, it's Stafford. Right back to Atwell. That's complete. And he is out of bounds inside the 35. Back-to-back receptions for him, and it's another first down.
Well, this game was decided a while ago, and that completion there is going to artificially inflate his passing numbers. So right now, the only one really applauding probably his agent as he thinks about angling for a new contract.
Now it's Stafford. Oh, he dropped it. And that's pretty indicative of the way this one's gone. Well, it just seems like all game long there hasn't been a lot of sync quarterback to wide receiver on this side of the football.
They haven't been on the same page, quarterback and receivers. Heck, they haven't been on the same grease board when you draw plays up. They haven't been on the same Surface tablet that you look at on the sidelines. Nothing's worked for them. They've got to find a way to start matching each other's movements.
It's caught here by Adams. They get 6. That'll leave them with 3rd and 4. You got the big lead defensively. Willing to give them that underneath stuff, right?
And this is why you work on your tackling. Tackle them after the catch, inbounds, keep the clock running. Just go ahead and bleed the game out that way.
The Rams on 3rd down. It has been a disaster. 0 for 8 thus far. This is 3rd and 4. Stafford looks to throw again. And that will be incomplete. Oh, he left that one in a bad spot, but fortunately it's just an incompletion and not picked to bring up 4th down.
And that's where you're counting on a receiver's size being an advantage. They were hoping he could go up the top of a smaller DB and haul that one in. A good thought, but that time it didn't work out.
And they're indeed going to go for it here on 4th down. So trailing here in the last quarter, let's see how this plays out. Here we go on 4th. Stafford able to find the open man. That's complete. And he gets it inside the 10 to the 9. And now we're going to get a stoppage as, yeah, that looks like Jackson who's shaken up. Well, now they're going to come out and take a look at this injury, and we'll be back in a moment. They'll send a receiver in motion to the left. They give it to Williams, running right. And he is going to lose yardage here. Derek Stingley, he got there in a hurry, and he earns the TFL.
There's no question that coming into this game, this defense was pretty vocal about its desire to take this running back out of his game. And all that pregame wolfing has turned into results.
So they get pushed back to the 11, and here's 2nd and goal. To throw is Stafford. Oh, there's that man again. It's complete. That time the completion goes for 4 yards, and we're set up with a 3rd and goal.
They gave up the completion there, but this is what zone defenses count on. Catching the ball and not much run after the catch.
3rd and goal, trying to make that scoreboard at least a little more respectable. And they'll send the tight end in motion here. Now Stafford on 3rd and goal. Under pressure now, he's going to go down. Sack back around the 8. Not what you wanted there. It goes as a sack and a loss of a yard. And not only that, now it's 4th and goal.
Guys with his talent in the pocket aren't supposed to be getting hit like this, and you know an intense conversation with the offensive line is going to occur after this one. Might not be from him, but the offensive line coach will have plenty to say about this game.
The field goal doesn't help. They're going to go for the 6 here on 4th and goal. As expected, they're going for it to keep the drive alive. That's to his running back, complete. And unable to break away. They stop him a few yards shy. They get the completion but cannot push forward into the end zone. And this long drive is going to wind up yielding nothing. So that's the 2nd time this game they've given it up on 4th down. They're now 1 for 3 on 4th down conversion tries.
But they must feel good about what they're doing, right? They continue to go for it on 4th down. Give the defense a lot of credit, though. They've stopped them 2 out of 3 times. Usually you have 4th down plays that you have dialed up and ready to go and you think are going to be successful. Not so far in this game.
They begin this drive with Chubb. And nothing much materializing there on the 1st down run. He'll get a couple, and that's it.
That 1st down play, all you want to do is wedge out any type of space and try and create enough room. If you have to run the punter out there, he can successfully complete the punt.
Yeah, didn't get a ton there, but at least some positive yardage. 2nd down and 8. They keep it on the ground. This time it's Nixon. And he'll be brought down, it looks like right at the 15. Trying to escape the shadow of their goalpost. That helped. 10 yards. 1st down.
And the Texans, 1st down.
Hate to be blunt, but it is just continuing to prove to be the case that this O-line is manhandling this D-line right now.
They deserve to roll up their sleeves and show up their biceps because they're doing exactly what you just described, manhandling the defensive front. They've got the leverage, they're powering through, and they're controlling this game.
Another big gainer that time. This one goes for 19 yards.
Partner, I have to tell you, just one word keeps coming to mind from watching them this afternoon, and that's impressive. They have been impressive from the opening kickoff, and they haven't let up here even into the 4th quarter.
Ball up to the 35 now as they come up on 1st and 10. And Chubb will try the middle here. And able to break one tackle, but then quickly brought down. But a nice little gain. 45 yards rushing for him now to this point.
I know that every now and then we get in those meetings with coaches, and you almost want to roll your eyes when they talk about staying on schedule when they're moving the football. But would you say a 7-yard run is ahead of schedule?
4th quarter with a lead, you love that, don't you?
No doubt about it, because staying on schedule is trying to get 4 downs on 1st down. They did that plus 3.
A short one going to be taken in here by Schultz. It'll be a pickup of 4, good enough to earn him yet another 1st down.
When you have someone throwing it that well, that confidently, you don't have to call the game in fear at all, do you? You just go ahead and play.
Yep, confidence with a lead to throw it here in the 4th, and boom, he's on the money.
Yeah, you don't have to tuck your head in and go like turtle at this point. You can just go ahead and play.
They'll try and wind down some clock with Chubb. Now he's able to take it across midfield before going out of bounds. It's a 6-yard pickup, and it gets him to 2nd and 4. 4th quarter, you've got the lead. You have to stay in bounds and run that clock. Coaches, that'll drive them crazy.
Sacrifice a yard or two if you have to. Just go down, in bounds, keep that clock going. It's almost like he was caring more about his fantasy stats than it was about winning the game, and that has to drive a coach crazy.
Second down, here's Chubb again. And that play goes nowhere. Taken down, losing yardage at the 50, right at midfield. Call that a loss of a yard, and things get a little more difficult here. 3rd and 5.
Part of the thinking when you bring in extra tight ends, you're hoping that each of your guys gets those one-on-one blocks and creates a crease for your runner. You know what the converse is, though? You've got to win those one-on-one blocks, and when you don't, that's the result you end up with.
On 3rd down, it's Nick Chubb. Give him 6 yards in the first down.
It's a gain of 6. And the Texans first down.
Brandon, when a defense just simply can't get off the field on 3rd down, and we all know how important that down is for both sides of the ball, you often feel like you're just a step behind whatever they're doing offensively.
And one of the differences in this game, no doubt, 3rd down conversion, and that is going to be a story they'll talk about after this one. They go with a shuffle pass, and it's complete. And he gets this inside the 35-yard line. Texans passing game in rhythm right now, picking up another first. So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. Up the middle, it's Chubb. Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be 2nd down.
I like it. I like the call. Still an opportunity to run the football and chew up a little more time off the clock.
And 5.
From the 28, it's 2nd and 5. That one looks like he'll throw here. He finds his target. It's Schultz. Down he goes at the 23, a pickup of 4.
That was an okay hookup there with his tight end, but unfortunately, they didn't get the kind of yards they had hoped for. That's going to bring up 3rd down.
Here's 3rd and a few inches. They'll run for it. Here's Chubb. And that one going nowhere from the start as he's met in the backfield and goes backwards. Not at all what they envisioned on 3rd down, 3 yards in the wrong direction.
I have zero rooting interest in either team in this game. I only want a good game. But with all the offense we've seen from them tonight, it's kind of nice to see the defense step up and make a big play.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were ever going to get him in the backfield. Nice to see him get a stop.
And on for the field goal. A 43-yard attempt.
And his kick is indeed good, and that will extend their lead even further. Charles, a lot of happy faces heading into the tunnel as this one ends, and understandably so. Not only did they get the win, but boy, their offense was on fire in this ball game.
And partner, I have no idea what the top speed is on one of those high-end sports cars. What's the top gear you can get into? This offense, they certainly were there in this one, huh? Everything clicking for them in this contest, the kind of performance that they're going to cherish.
So that's a wrap for Charles Davis. I'm Brandon Gunn, and this has been a presentation of the NFL on EA Sports. For more, check us out at easports.com. From Southern California, so long, everybody.